This man was kissing his best friend's wife. Everyone who saw them was stunned. It turns out David and Jack had come to a statue of a goddess. They loudly proclaimed that they wanted each other's lives. After the goddess statue heard their words, they noticed the sky suddenly turned dark. The next morning, Jack was awakened by the cries of a child. He got up to see what was going on and found David's wife lying in bed beside him. Just as he was feeling bewildered, he caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror. Jack had somehow turned into the spitting image of his buddy David. He realized their words from the previous night had come true. David was still sleeping in the other room. When he opened the door, he saw himself standing outside. David thought he must be dreaming. He shook Jack's head, trying to wake himself up. When he realized this was reality, David cried out in shock. They figured it must have something to do with the statue from yesterday. So they immediately drove off to find it. When they arrived, the statue was gone. They asked where it had been taken. The workers said they were only responsible for the demolition and told them to ask the relocation office. They drove to the relocation office, but the people there couldn't find any information either. So they went home to wait for news. In the meantime, the two men had no choice but to live each other's lives. However, they still went to David's house. They explained the whole situation to Annie, but Annie didn't believe them at all. She knew they had a great relationship and thought they might just be trying to prank her. To prove himself, David told her to ask them questions. Annie asked when their wedding anniversary was. David got it wrong, but Jack answered correctly. David had no choice but to ask her to change the question. Annie asked about her favorite color. David said it was red, but Jack said green. Annie just looked at them. David was very anxious and irritated. He brought up the story behind the scar on Annie's butt. He thought that by revealing this, Annie would believe his words. Instead, they each received a slap in the face. Not only did David fail to prove his identity, but his words made Annie even more certain that these two were just trying to mess with her. They were about to face even more difficult problems. This movie is called The Change-Up. Due to copyright issues, I can only share this much of the story. If you're interested, feel free to check out the original film.